Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, allow me, on behalf of the Ministry for Human and Minority Rights of the Government of Montenegro, welcome you all participants of this important conference, the results of which and the conclusions of which will be a new contribution to our combat against all forms of discrimination in the Montenegrin society. In this regard, I'd like to inform you with the activities we have already taken, with those that are now underway and those that we plan to take in the near future, us in the Ministry of Human and Minority Rights, the activities concerning human rights and fights against discrimination. One of our top priorities for this year is the implementation of the action plan prepared for the law on prohibiting discrimination. It includes the training plan and education plan and a plan of training for the media representatives. The first quarter of 2011 was marked by the adoption of the secondary legislation, namely the rule book on keeping records on cases of reported discrimination cases, which means that all state authorities and institutions having contact with discrimination cases, such as judges, courts actually, inspection services and misdemeanor bodies, will have to keep a record of such cases and submit such records to the Office of Ombudsman. In this way, this will become part of the special report Ombudsman has to prepare on discrimination issues in Montenegro. In this way, discrimination against LGBT persons, among others, becomes more visible and transparent. The second quarter of this year started with the implementation of the following activities: the activities concerning training, education and promotion. The civil servants, judges were trained, a large number of the persons employed with the police directorate and civil servants working in other bodies and institutions concerning fight against discrimination and providing protection to marginalized groups in case of their discrimination. In May this year, the first workshop was organized. It is part of our education and training plan, and the topic was general legal regime for fight against discrimination. In this, we discussed discrimination, the definition of discrimination, typical forms of discrimination in real life, and the legal mechanisms that are used to fight discrimination. Again, after this workshop, the education and training plan has two more workshops to organize, and these will focus on discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, handicap and gender identity. The next workshop was organized in June, and at this workshop we discussed discrimination issues in the case of discrimination of LGBT community. Case law of the European Court of Human Rights was also part of our work, and the lecturers at this workshop are here with us today, some of them, not all, and I hope that they will be as successful here as they were in Budva last summer at this workshop. I'd like to mention as well that the first stage of our education and training program ends in late October this year, when the last workshop will be organized, and that for 2012 we plan to cover the local government level with similar activities. The activities will focus on the protection of marginalized groups. Our ministry has always the study on the attitude of the Montenegro's public towards LGBT population. The study was prepared by SEDEM. It was ended in late May. In June, press conference was organized to present the results of the study. The Ministry plans to use these results to plan its activities towards continuing fighting the discrimination cases. A media campaign was organized as well. It is again focusing on LGBT population, gender identity, persons with a disability as well. Campaign started in May, lasted until August. It included ads, flyers, commercials, and a lot of billboards were prepared as well for the same purpose. The campaign included a video spot on discrimination of LGBT. Education and promotion of anti-discriminatory behavior is a continuous process. After we finish the activities we have planned for 2011, we plan to continue these activities in 2012. We plan to cover more people, more services, authorities, and the purpose of this is to make sure all human rights are protected, as well as to create a positive, tolerant setting and a setting where the respect for everyone is ensured. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever is European in the area of discrimination will be foreign to Montenegro. Deputy Prime Minister Mr. Markovic has already informed you of the commitment of Montenegro to continue fighting for full protection of every individual in this country. And we will continue acting towards these goals in partnership with our friends from Europe, from the world, and we'll do our best to be as successful as possible in this fight.
Thank you, Minister Dinoša, for sharing with us some of the activities of your government with respect to training. I also want to say that I think one of the great signs of progress this year that we should not let go unnoticed was actually the appointment of my good friend Dr. Jovan Kojčić to be the Human Rights Advisor to the Prime Minister. I think it was a bit surprising to those of us who have worked with Jovan over the years that this invitation was extended from the government of Montenegro. Those of you who do not know him well should know that before his appointment, Jovan was perhaps one of the best-known critics of the government of Montenegro, someone who has studied very closely the conditions experienced by the LGBT population and who has been a strong advocate for law reform in this country and for positive measures by the political leadership to protect the LGBT population. And I think it is a great act of courage of your government, Deputy Prime Minister, to embrace one of your critics so warmly and to seek advice that may be sometimes not very comfortable to hear. There is no greater compliment to a lawyer than when your opponent hires you. I said there's no greater compliment to a lawyer than when your opposition hires you the next time. We have almost used up all of our time. We just have a few moments for some discussion. The format is not going to be a question and answer from the audience. We talked about this beforehand because of the way the room is set up and so on. We're going to have a little discussion from the panelists, give them an opportunity to speak. You will all have a chance at the reception afterwards to speak to, I think all of our guests are staying for the, afterwards you'll have a chance to speak to them and to talk to them. But we have a few minutes, and I would like to give each of the panelists a chance to reflect on what they've heard from the other speakers. But I am going to use the prerogative of being the moderator to ask a question, because I know, again, I regret that the NGOs are not present. I have had the privilege of working with them, and they certainly were very welcome, as I was sending emails as recently as today, reminding them that they are still welcome to participate, and that, of course, even if they choose to exercise their democratic right to criticize and not to participate, that they will be welcome to work, certainly with Justice in the Balkans in future to promote equality. But let me ask the question I'm sure they would ask if they were present of the minister who has graciously agreed to be here tonight. I know that there are many people in the LGBT population and in the NGO sector who are very skeptical about the track record of the government of Montenegro, that the pace of change has been too slow. And of course, the minister will know that there has been some criticism of remarks that you have made, and I will confess I have criticized some of his remarks in the past. So the question is, from the LGBT population and from the NGO sector, what assurance can you offer to those organizations and to that population that the government is actually sincere about making the necessary changes, and that this is not just a nice show for the media and for Europe?
I believe that the progress when it comes to tolerance towards LGBT population, when it comes to protection of this population against discrimination, that the progress has been made. I want to be personal about that, and I want to say that it was all launched with the attacks on myself. Whenever they try to attack me, then something good happens. We make a progress. And this happens with LGBT rights as well. In my speech, I presented a couple of activities that we have staged that absolutely contributed to the improvement in society when it comes to LGBT rights. I want to add to that the clear sign to that population and to everyone who feels those issues close to his or her heart, that we have Mr. Kojic as advisor to the Prime Minister in his cabinet is a strong signal that the government is serious about that. It wants professional, to make some professional impacts and to try to improve the situation about LGBT rights and LGBT populations status in society. I believe that we have the new law in the pipeline that the Prime Minister will have one of the deputies working on those rights. Ombudsman will also have one of the deputies who will work on LGBT rights. We believe it will be an LGBT person, him or herself, and they will try to encourage LGBT population to exercise their rights to the full, as they do that in the tradition of developed democracies. I want to say that you were critical to me, but I don't believe that you have a full grasp of what I wanted to say, because you heard just some fragments of what I said. communicate on a daily basis with my colleagues, ministers, and with the prime ministers. I am fully ready myself, and there is a good atmosphere in the whole government across boards that we create a better life and better status, a better environment for LGBT population.